Hi, everybody. This is Spine Safe Mat Pilates. So I give modifications for people that need them. And today we'll be using hand weights. So if you don't have hand weights, cans or water bottles will do, or you can do body weight if you find that that's better for you. So we're going to go ahead and lay on our backs. So to get down, if you are not supposed to be loading your spine in flexion, you go to one side and get onto your back. If you're okay with flexion though, doing a roll down, you can do that as well to get down onto the mat. We'll lengthen the back of our necks and then have your hand weights in your hands. I prefer lighter weights. Maybe these are 3 pound, right? So we'll go ahead and press into the mat with our feet, engage our buttock muscles and lift up. So a low lift if you have bone density loss like osteopenia or porosis, and a higher lift if you do not, to stretch the fronts of the thighs. And then everybody gets to roll down. So let's do that 2 more times. Just leave your arms down on the mat, leave your back of your neck long, lift up and roll down. And one more time, lift up and roll down. Nice. And we just leave our feet on the mat and our knees bent, legs are a comfortable distance apart. Bend your elbows, press your weights up toward the ceiling. Then let your palms face each other and open up your arms so that you have kind of a nice rounded shape to your arm. And then from here, we'll open our arms out to the side until we feel maybe a mild stretch, or maybe the backs of your arms hit the mat, and then close your arms again. Okay, so let's do that about 10 times here, and just make it nice and easy. Just inhale and exhale. It's really not work yet. We're just opening up the chest. Okay, and inhale. Exhale. Right. There's 5. Make sure that the back of your neck remains long, so you're looking straight toward the ceiling here. If you have a tendency to kind of feel like you're looking overhead, that may indicate that you need a pillow under your head. 9 and 10. Beautiful job. And then press your arms up toward the ceiling. And straighten your arms, keeping your palms facing each other. So your shoulder blades round, and then pull your shoulder blades down onto the mat, and then reach up and pull your shoulder blades back down. So just shoulder slaps. We're not really trying to slap the mat in this one. Kind of a nice smooth movement of the shoulder blades around the rib cage. 2 more. 1 more. Good job. Okay, so now place your left hand on the mat, and you can be palm down or pinky down. Okay, so it just depends, or back of the hand down, right? But press into the mat with your left arm and make sure your shoulder blade is down your back. And then bring your left leg up into a close tabletop. The right foot stays down on the mat. So push into the mat with your right foot. Hips stay down. Left arm's pushing down. Now take your right hand. See, we're playing Twister already, right? Take your right hand and place it on the inside of your left knee and press into the ground with the 2 limbs touching the ground, and press into each other with the 2 limbs up in the air. Try to keep both shoulder blades down your back and hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. And then we'll go ahead and switch sides. So the right arm gets to be down on the ground. The left foot gets to be down. Right leg comes up. Left arm comes up. You press into the inner leg, inner knee, and then press your limbs together and press into the floor and hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Okay, let's do 1 more on each side. So press, press, lift, opposite arm and leg, press into each other, opposite arm and foot, press into the mat for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good, and switch. So Opposite arm and leg press into each other. Opposite arm and foot press into the mat for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Nicely done. Okay, so now let's go ahead and bend our elbows and bring our arms back up toward the ceiling, setting our shoulder blades down on the mat. Good. And now this time, let's take our left leg up and let's bring our right hand and do that same press into the mat, or same press into your legs. And then extend your arm and leg overhead and come back and press. So let's do 8 here. And 2, and press, and 3, press, 4, press, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Perfect job. Other side. Take a breath, exhale, pull into your belly, press your hand and knee together, and then extend. You can see the other limbs are not moving. So you've still got one foot on the ground, one arm in the air, just standing there, both shoulder blades on the mat. And we're doing our opposite arm and leg reach with a little isometric press in between the reaches. And it's important to pay attention to how low your leg is going. So we don't want to go so low that we lose control of our torso on the mat. And that's your set. Then we'll go ahead and lower our arms and legs. Bring your ankles and knees together. Take your arms out wide in the shape of a T. And keeping your ankles together, take your knees over to one side. So one of your feet will lift because your ankles are together. And you will feel a nice stretch in your chest and shoulder. So ideally, we want both shoulders to stay down on the mat, and your knees, your thigh may not be touching. It might, but it might not. So take a couple more breaths here. And then on your exhale, pull into your abdominals and bring your knees back through center. And let's go to the new side. And try to keep your ankles together. So you're basically using the weight of your legs to stretch this anterior oblique fascia line and your chest. So we're still opening the chest, stretching the body. And exhale, pull into abs, bring your legs back to center, bring your arms in, have your elbows bent, and let's lift and lower our hips to organize our spines. Good. So now let's go ahead and bring your arms up to the ceiling. Pull your shoulder blades down your back. So you've planted your shoulder blades on the mat. Take a breath. And as you exhale, engage your gluteals, pull your abdominals softly in, lift your pelvic floor, lift your hips. Okay, so now we're in our bottom lift or our bridge. Okay, so choosing a height that's appropriate for you. So now soften your elbows. And inhale, open your arms, exhale, bring your arms back together. So we're doing a hug a tree movement right over your chest, not your face or neck. And we'll do 8 here while we're holding our bridge. 3 and 4. So keep breathing, keep the action going of your gluteals engaged. Your pelvic floor is lifted. So we're using a little gravity assist for the pelvic floor here, of course, and pulling into abdominals and breathing. And 2 more. And 8. Beautiful job. And then we'll go ahead and straighten our arms up toward the ceiling and roll down. Nice. So let's go ahead and put our weights down beside us for a moment. And just take your left leg into your chest. Place your right hand on the top of the left shin and your left hand on the outside of the left ankle. Okay, so if you have bone density loss or disc issues, your head needs to remain down. If you do not, you can nod your chin and come up. Okay, and then extend the other leg and go ahead and switch the leg you're holding and switch your hand hold. So we go into our single leg stretch, which can be done with the head down to keep the osteo spine a little safer, or head up. Okay. All right. If your neck feels tired, even if you don't have osteo something going on in your body, You can go ahead and just keep going on the set with your head down. It's perfectly fine. We're still getting the benefits of the exercise. So really push, pull your leg. So your arms are actually pulling the leg and your leg is pushing into your arms. So you have to get this idea of an isometric that we started with at the beginning of class. One more, and then bring your knees into your chest and rock your knees back and forth, right? And so you have a little bit of almost a cat-cow feeling in your spine, okay? And then let's take our knees around in circles. So we're just guiding our knees with our hands for the moment. One more this direction. And we'll go the other direction. Perfect. And let's go ahead and float our feet down to the mat. Let's take our dumbbells in our hands again. All right. So we'll go ahead and pull up into belly, lift and lower our hips to organize our spine, and bring our arms back up toward the ceiling, shoulders down. Rounded elbows, okay? And then we'll exhale and pull into belly and bring our right leg and then our left leg up to tabletop. So bring your legs in close so you can really connect your abs. And then if you need more, you can slide away, but make sure your back stays in the same distance from the mat. We'll go into our hug a tree. Inhale, open, exhale, close. So we're doing 4 with double arms. Now, if you're in your tabletop position and you feel like your back is straining, you can go ahead and just put your feet back down on the mat and focus on pulling your abs in. And 4. Okay, so now let's go ahead and just take the left arm out. Okay, so keep your legs in position and the left arm goes out and comes back. Okay, and you can start feeling this oblique action, right? The obliques are stabilizing your torso from rolling to the side. And one more, and we'll do the right side. You also feel maybe a little inner thigh. Okay, so the inner thigh on the side of the dumbbell is moving out and then back to center is also working with the diagonal in your abdominals to keep you from rolling. Perfect job. And we'll come back down to the mat. Bring your weights down. Beautiful job. And then we'll go ahead and take our left leg in both hands and straighten your leg up from the ceiling. Rounded elbows help us keep our shoulders down. And you can choose head down or head up. Extend the other leg long. And then press into your hand and pull your leg with your hand twice and switch. Okay, so this is our single leg stretch. And it's a lovely active hamstring stretch and abdominal work, which can be done head up or head down to make it safe and accessible for anyone who needs to be more gentle with their spine or neck. Let's do one more on each side. Beautiful job. And all body parts come down, and then we'll go ahead and take our arms out, ankles together, and rotate again. So we rotate our lower body and just find the stretch. Take 2 breaths. Exhale through center, inhale off to the other side. 2 breaths. Exhale back to center, and then bring your feet close to your bum, shoulders down. Bring your dumbbells up toward the ceiling, shoulders slap your shoulder blades down, and we'll lift our hips again. So we have glutes, pelvic floor, and core working for our engagement here. So now let's go ahead and shift our weight in our hips from side to side, but try to keep track of your upper body. Like use your dumbbells and your ceiling to kind of mark where you are in space. And do your best not to counterbalance in your arms. Okay, so if the arms are trying to sway to counterbalance, you might want to make your range of motion a little bit smaller. We'll do one more on each side. Good. And then come back to center. Now bring your feet and knees a little bit closer together. So as if you were standing on one leg, recommit to your shoulder blades down on the mat. Then stand on your left leg and bring the right leg up. Extend your right leg toward the ceiling, lower it down to match the left thigh and raise it up 2 more times. So it's lower and lift, lower and lift. Now bend the right leg, put it back down next to the left, shift to the right. So keep track of where your dumbbells are in the room. Bring your left knee in, extend your leg up, and lower and lift to the height of your other thigh. 2 and 3. Bend your knee, put your foot back down, recommit to your bridge, and lower down. Lovely. Let's put our dumbbells down beside us and bring both knees into our hands. And now take your knees around in one big circle, massaging the edges of the sacrum. And let's go the other direction. One big circle. Good. And bring your knees in towards your chest. So you have a little bit of a back and glute stretch. And then we'll move into our double leg stretch. So we're doing our big 5 today. The big 5 Pilates abdominal exercises. So now slide your hands a little bit below your knees onto your shins. Wing your elbows out. Head down if you have osteo something or disc issues going on. Head up if you don't. And so we're sort of in this little ball. And then inhale, extend your arms and legs long. Exhale, swim your arms around in a semicircle. Bring your knees in and catch yourself by the shins. Push, pull. So inhale and exhale. 3 more. The height of your legs in the room determines the amount of work that you're doing. If your head is down, you may find that you need to have your legs up a little higher in the room because you don't have the help of your upper body being lifted. So it's actually a little harder. And 1 more. Beautiful job. And there you have it. That was very nicely done. So we'll go ahead and come down to the mat and let's stretch our legs out long. And let's bring our arms overhead and just stretch out as if you were a cat laying in the sun. All right, so you've got that nice long torso. We're just making ourselves as long as possible. Take 1 more breath here. Bring your arms back down. Bring your knees back in. And let's lift and lower our hips to organize our spine. And the dumbbells again. Bring your arms back up toward the ceiling. Shoulders slap them down. And then take a breath. And as you exhale, bring your legs up in a tabletop. Okay, so I'm using a closed tabletop, right? Traditional tabletop is a chair position. So you find what feels like you're working in your abs most effectively without strain in your back or neck. Okay, so you can actually do a couple little slides in and out to figure out where your starting position needs to be. Pick that starting position, and then keeping your right thigh exactly where it is and your left arm exactly where it is, reach your right arm overhead and your left leg long, and then bring them back and do your little counter pressure and reach and bring them back. So we're doing 1 set of limbs at a time, 10 times. So this is 3. Right arm, left leg, repeating 10 times. And press. And 5. Be careful on the overhead reach that your shoulder is happy. We want happy shoulders. Usually for most shoulders, that means not behind your cheekbone. Okay, so, and 9, and 10. Beautiful job. Just take your knees in your hands and take your knees around in mirror image circles, and we'll just give ourselves a little bit of a rest in between sides here. Other direction. Perfect. Hug your knees in. Nice. And then bring your arms back up toward the ceiling. Shoulder blades planted on the mat. Tabletop of your choosing. Okay. And we'll do our left arm and our right leg. Reach them long and then come back and maybe do your counter pressure and reach. Keep breathing. So reaching as you breathe in can be challenging at first for many people. But when you reach and breathe in, it actually helps to stiffen your spine and torso. So it kind of helps to protect your spine a little bit more. And then as you exhale, it helps you recommit to your abs. So you exhale on the way in. 9 and 10. Good. And then take your knees into your hands. Go ahead and take your legs in mirror image circles. We'll go the other direction. So a challenge exercise here will be our double leg stretch with our dumbbells. And if that feels like too much for you, you can have your feet down. So I'll show you the feet down option first. Press your dumbbells into your thighs. Bring your arms up to relative overhead till you feel the pull in your belly. Circle them around and press them into your thighs again. Okay, so this is your option if you want your feet down. If you want your legs in tabletop, you'll push-pull your legs on your shin, extend, and circle. So whichever option you're doing, just do 4 to 5. You can try both. Okay, breathe in as you extend, breathe out all your air as you bring your limbs back together. And that's it, right? It's great stuff. So let's go ahead and set our weights down. And then we'll lift and lower our hips to organize our spines. And then you can keep your left leg bent if you want. Bring the right leg up, straight up toward the ceiling. If it feels okay for you to have the left leg long on the mat, you can slide it out. If that feels like it's not going to work for your body today, just leave it bent, okay? And we'll begin with our single leg circles. Pull your shoulders down. Hip replacement safe is to describe a letter D on the ceiling. So the long spine of the D comes down center, and then we swing the leg outward and curve the front part of the D, okay? If you do not have a hip replacement, you can go ahead and cross your midline a little more freely, okay, right? And still seek to find your abdominals working to keep your pelvis stable. So if you choose the more circular variation, your hips are rolling to one side, kind of like a cylinder with the leg, and the rotation is actually coming from the rib cage area of your spine. Let's go ahead and go the other direction, either a letter D or a larger movement, controlled circle. And your upper body is just pressing into the mat. Neck's nice and long. You're breathing. Press your long leg or your foot into the mat. And one more. Beautiful. Now catch that knee in your hand and take the knee around passively in a circle. So we have just created some warmth in our hip joint, and your muscles working to go the other direction have put some synovial fluid into the hip joint. So when we take our knee around in this big passive movement like this, we're actually lubricating the edges of the hip labrum. So it's a beautiful thing, right? So then we'll bring the other leg up into a bent leg position. We'll do one little bridge just to organize our spines, make sure our shoulder blades are underneath us, back of the neck is long, and then let's take the left leg up into tabletop, extend it long, and then you choose, you can leave your right leg bent, or you can stretch it out as if you were standing on the floor. So it's completely up to you. We'll begin with our capital letter D in mirror image now. So we bring the straight spine of the D down, and we take the curved D off to the side and up. And so We start there, and then if you want to go more, if you are okay with crossing midline, aka not a posterior hip replacement, then you can go ahead and scribe a larger circle, keeping it controlled. So we're just breathing, using abs, pressing into the mat. Yeah. Feel the quality of the movement in your hip joint. See if you feel like things are moving smoothly. Sometimes people pop and clunk. Let's go the other direction. And if that's the case, I recommend making it a smaller range of movement and really using more internal muscles, pelvic floor, abdominals pulled in, and certainly a range of motion where that popping or clunking is not happening. If you can't get there, we can always put a strap around the foot and guide the leg, support the leg a little bit more. And the last one. And let's go ahead and bring your knee into your chest, hold onto it with your hand, and do your passive circles, guiding with your hand to lubricate our hip labrums. Other direction if you haven't already. Beautiful job. Okay, so let's go ahead and bend both knees, and we'll take our weights into our hands. Good. And lift and lower your hips, organize your spine, shoulders pull down, neck is long, and we reach up toward the ceiling. Beautiful job. So with your shoulders planted and your arms held up toward the ceiling, we'll engage gluteals, lift hips to an appropriate height, and then we'll go into some hip dips here. So allow your left hip to dip down as you press or struggling through your right leg, and then come back through center and allow the right hip to drop down as the left hip presses more strongly. Okay, so this is kind of like a walking pattern, and where the rotation is coming from is your rib cage spine. Okay, so your pelvis and your lumbar spine are all moving together. You can feel that the rotation is actually happening in the rib cage. And then pay attention to where the dumbbells are. Make sure that they're holding pretty steady in the room. Let's just do one more. Level out your hips. Come on down to the mat. Put your dumbbells down. Take your knees into your chest and take your knees around in one big circle. Again, massaging the edges of the sacrum. We'll go the other direction. Perfect job. So let's go ahead and bring our feet down to the mat. I'm going to take my dumbbells over to my left side here and lay down on my left side. So from here, I'll be using one dumbbell and I'll be pressing it up toward the ceiling with my palm facing forward. So I want my palm to be right over my armpit when I get my arm up to the ceiling. And then I'll bring my legs forward. So from the crown of the head to the tailbone is lined up with the back of your mat, and your toes are pointed off the front of your mat. Now, flex the bottom foot and press it into the mat. Lift your top leg to about hip height. Pull your shoulder blade down your back, right? So you see if it relaxes, you're up here, right? And then make some circles. So we're circling again, and we're breathing. 4, 5, 6, and go the other direction. And we're attempting to keep our side waist lifted off the mat, belly pulled in, yeah? And the subtle movement of the arm holding the dumbbell is actually working indirectly on our rotator cuff. Okay, and last one, and we'll rest down and rest the arm down as well. So now let's take our hand down to the mat. You can still keep your dumbbell and use it as a way to kind of support your wrists as you press your knuckles into the ground. Bend your bottom leg, okay? Bend the top leg, lift the top leg, and then bring your bent knee in closer to your chest. So now keep your shoulder down Extend your leg forward, then bring it back. And when you bring the leg back, think length. Now keep your thigh in place, bend your knee, so as if you were going to kick yourself in the rear end, and then bring your bent leg forward again. So it's extend forward, find a hamstring stretch, stretch back, find length, bend to increase the stretch in your thigh, and then bring the bent leg forward. And 3 of 4 here, hamstring, okay, extend, bend, and forward. Last one in this direction, stretch, stretch, keep your shoulder blade down and your waist lifted, and forward. Now bend your knee, take the bent leg back until you feel a hamstring stretch. Reach long, find more length out of your hip, and then bring your leg forward. Hamstring, bend, quad, extend. Good. There's 3. Good. And 4. Perfect. All right, so we'll rest down. So now we can have a little fun. Let's do a little combo here. So if we go like this, right, we want to have this movement be controlled. So ideally your top of your shoulder and your elbow are straight down on your side. And then while we're doing that, we can also rotate our leg. So now make sure that you're not rolling back. We'll do 10. So we're doing a lateral rotation in our shoulder and a lateral rotation in our hip at the same time. Isn't this fun? 5, 6. Do you feel your bottom leg too? Your bottom hip? 8. That's the tricky thing. So often when we're practicing our Pilates, 10. Oh, that was good. We have the stabilizing side that's working as hard, or sometimes it feels even more work than the side that is moving. So now we're going to change sides. And we'll start laying down with from head to tail lined up with the back of the mat. Legs are a little bit forward, so we have a little bit of a hinge right off the front of the mat. And then take the dumbbell, palm is facing front, pull your shoulder blades down, and then we'll press down into the mat with our bottom leg, lift the top leg, and we'll do some circles. So just keep your waist lifted, abs in, shoulder blade down the back. And we'll circle and we'll hold steady with the dumbbell. So we're getting that little subtle rotator cuff stabilization. Let's go the other direction. Just keep lifting your waist, pulling into belly. Keep breathing. 2 and 1, and lower your leg down. Wow, that was fun. Okay, so now your fist is down on the mat. You can hold your dumbbell or not. Bottom leg bends. So we keep the bottom leg actively pressing. Top leg lifts. We'll bring our leg back, right? Bend, bring it forward, extend. So we find length in our leg. Bend, increase the hamstring stretch. Bring your bent leg forward and extend. Yes, I know, I started backwards, okay? That's maybe a little of the yoga teacher in me that starts sometimes working backwards up the set. And bend and extend. Now bend your knee, take the bent leg back, reach long, and then bring your leg forward, find the hamstring stretch. Bend, extend, find length, and then reach your leg forward. Bend, bent leg back, extend long. So we have our bicycles here. Reach and bend. Last one. Back, reach, stretch, bend. Good. And then we'll stay with our legs bent, and let's find the position of our arm. So elbow right vertically down from the shoulder, right on the side waist, and then we do our lateral rotations in our arm, and we add our lateral rotations in our hip. So side waist is lifted, belly's in, we're breathing. And 7, 8, and again, you feel that tricky business of bottom hip working. All right, so now let's go ahead and go on our backs again for a moment. And we're just going to go into a figure 4 stretch. So, sorry, I did that kind of fast. So lift and lower your hips and then place one ankle on top of the opposite thigh. What I do to increase the stretch, instead of having to reach through, I'm going to bring my foot up to my toes, like I'm in a high-heeled shoe, and just bring the thigh in a little closer. And that way I can leave my upper body kind of nice and open. And then what you can also do here, so muscles move in different directions. Like muscles aren't just in one direction. They have different vectors of movement. And so if you kind of gently explore maybe rocking your hips from side to side in a very slow and gentle way, you might actually find a place that is in need of stretch that you don't feel as strongly when you're just holding the stretch straight here, okay? So you can just take about 5 more breaths here and just explore any areas that need to stretch in the hip. And one more breath. Nice, and we'll slide our support leg away, unwind, go to the other side, and then see if you need a little bit of closer figure 4. And again, just find your breath and see if there's any need for movement of the stretch that helps to enhance the stretch, or finding another place. And you know, if this one feels tighter, then that's a good thing to know. Then you would start on this side. If this one doesn't feel like it needs the stretch as much, you could go back to the first side and repeat it. So it's very common to have a difference from side to side. So we want to stretch, you know, more on the side that we feel is tighter in our bodies. And then we'll just take one more breath. We'll unwind and let's just hug our knees into our chest. Take your knees around, mirror image circles. Let's go the other direction. Good. Let's go ahead and put our feet down, shoulders down, hands behind the base of the skull. So stretch the back of your neck nice and long and let your elbows remain wings up off the mat. We don't have to have them flat, okay? And then bring your right leg up into a close tabletop and rotate toward the right side. So your left shoulder blade is lifted, your left elbow is pointing in the direction of your right knee. Put the leg down, lift the left leg, rotate toward the left, okay? So this is getting into a little rotation and we're building up into crisscross. So for somebody who is not supposed to have their head lifted, you can be here, okay? And if you want more, you could bring both legs up to your tabletop and then extend the leg that you're rotating away from. So we have a nice crisscross variation that is safe for a person with bone density loss or disc issues. And if you don't have that going on, you're free to roll up to the head lifted variation crisscross. Okay, if it feels like a little bit more than you bargained for in your back, okay, you could always march the crisscross too with your head down, or with your head up, excuse me, your feet down. So many body parts to keep track of. Okay, so let's just do a couple more on each side of whatever variation you've chosen. Perfect, and we'll come on down to the mat. Let your arms go out to the side and then take your knees to one side. Take a couple of breaths. Exhale through center. Inhale off to the other side. Exhale to center. Nice. And then let's go to one side, press up, and we'll come into a kneeling position on hands and knees. So if kneeling isn't your favorite, okay, I understand, we won't be here long, but you could use potentially hand weights to help support your wrists, okay? And you can also roll up a yoga mat underneath your shins to help with your knee comfort, okay? So we'll pull our shoulder blades down, have your knees about hip distance apart. Exhale, emphasize the movement of your low back as you exhale and arch and inhale and come into your other position, belly down toward the mat, okay? So we're all built differently. And so most of us will have a lot of range toward the floor, more in their low back, and a lot of range toward the ceiling, more in the upper back. Okay, so, or you can be like me and not have a whole lot of range in either direction. But so we're all different. So the point is that think about this movement coming from your hips and your low back, and let that be the initiation in the upward movement, and then let your heart lead the way in the movement that travels toward the mat. So we emphasize our low back, our lumbar in the cat, and then emphasize your ribcage spine and opening your heart in the cow, okay? So that's it. Let's just do one more like that. And we'll go ahead and find our neutral spine. Shoulders down the back, belly pulls in, pelvic floor lifts. Let's slide our left leg out long with toe pads on the mat. Okay, good. Now take your dumbbell in your right hand and bring your arm beside you, not behind you, just beside you. So you'll straighten your arm and then take it away in a little semicircle and then just wing it back in right next to you again. So it's a tricep press back and then a little semicircle forward and bring it right on back. Okay, so this is a kind of a backstroke movement, a little breaststroke movement, if you will, reverse breaststroke. So we'll do one more on this side, and then let's go ahead and come back to all fours. Extend the right leg out, toe pads on the mat, belly pulled in, shoulder blades down, and take the dumbbell in your left hand, bring it up beside you, extend it, and bring it around in a semicircle. So we're just doing 6. And we want to make sure that our movement, right, is right next to us. Okay, not like somewhere, you know, way high, right? Especially for those of us that have very flexible shoulders. Be careful, we're working a weight with a strong shoulder position, and then we let that go, okay? And then let's go ahead and just take your right hand and bring it up toward the ceiling and follow it with your eyes, okay? So you've got a little bit of a rotation. Exhale, bring your right arm underneath you and get a little bit of a stretch. And then inhale, right arm to the sky. Exhale underneath you for a stretch. One more time, inhale and exhale. Good, let's do that with the left arm. Inhale your left arm up, exhale, reach it underneath you for a bit of a stretch. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Beautiful job. Let's go ahead and lay down on our bellies. So if being on your abdomen is not your happy place, you can continue on in a standing kneel on your shins, or you can also place a pillow underneath your abdomen to increase the comfort in your back. We'll take our dumbbells and bring them down beside us, and you just resting your chin on the mat and looking down toward the mat. And we'll pull into belly, press your legs down, press your pubic bone down, bring your shoulders back and your arms up. Okay, so now you're hovering off the mat, faces off the mat, shoulders and chest are off the mat, arms are off the mat. Good, and then let's go ahead and take our arms out and in. So we'll just do 10, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good, and rest your dumbbells down and rest your chin down. So take a breath here, take another breath. And again, press your legs down, press your pubic bone down, lift up your belly, lift up head, neck, and shoulders, back of the neck is long, and then lift your dumbbells. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good. Set your arms down, set the dumbbells down. You can have palms on top of each other or hands on top of each other. Rest your forehead down. And then let's take our knees, bend them, and swing your legs from side to side and just loosen up in the back and the hips. Perfect. And then from here, forehead on the hands, stretch your legs out long and kick yourself in the booty twice with one leg. So kick, kick, and then stretch the leg long. Kick, kick, stretch the leg long. Kick, kick, stretch the leg long, right? So that's our pattern. And if you want to come up into a little bit of a extension, place your hands like fists on the mat, get your forearms on the mat, and then pull your chest through your forearms. Keep your back of your neck long. Keep pressing actively away from the mat. And then go back into your double kick pattern. Kick, 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 kick. And remember, stretching the leg long is really important here. So belly's pulled up, thighs are on the mat. We're pressing actively away from the mat. You can up tempo this a little bit if you are able to keep everything stable. Okay, one more on each side. Nicely done. All right. And let's go ahead, tuck your toes under now. Keep your forearms in the same position. And if you are still head down, place your forearms in this position. Pull into belly and lift the rest of your body up into a plank. So we'll just take a couple of breaths here. One more breath. Lower your knees, press your hips back, walk your knees forward and wide, and then stack your fists on top of each other to place your forehead on your fists for a wide-legged child's pose. So we'll just breathe here. Take about 3 more breaths. Good. And then we'll press up to sitting. Our dumbbells in our hands and stand at the front of your mat. So you can't see my feet, I'm sorry about that. But we're going to be stepping back into a back lunge while we do a biceps curl. So let's take a breath, pull into belly, zip up your front line, curl both elbows and step back and see if you could do that balancing on your toe balls, okay? And then come back. Okay, so let's do the same side 5 times. So got my right leg stepping back and doing a simultaneous bicep curl at the same time. So really stay connected in your abs here. And you may feel a stretch in the front of your hip, okay, if you need it there. And you will definitely feel some balance work going on, yeah, as I demonstrate. So, and 5, good. Let's take the other side. On the toe balls, preferably, okay. And 2, 3, 4, and 5. Nicely done. So now let's take our single leg balance for a moment and do some more biceps curls. So shift your weight over to one hip, press into the ground. Lift your other leg. And then let's do 5 biceps curls here. Nice and easy. 2, 3, 4, 5. Put that leg down, shift over, engage your gluteals, lift your leg, and 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Beautiful job. Now, roll your shoulders back and down again, recommitting to your abdominals. Step back with one leg and stay there. So we zip up the front line. Bring your arms out into a T. Inhale, rotate. Exhale, center. Inhale, rotate. Exhale, center. Bring your arms down. Step forward. Step back with the other leg. Find your balance. Zip up. Arms out. Inhale, rotate. Exhale, center. Inhale, rotate. Exhale, center. Arms down. Step forward. Let's do 2 more on each side. Step back. Zip up. Raise your arms. Inhale, rotate. I rotate toward the front leg. Exhale. Inhale, rotate the other direction. Exhale. Arms down. Step forward. Change legs. Zip up. Raise your arms. Inhale, rotate. Exhale, center. Inhale, rotate. Exhale, center. Arms down. Step forward. Last one on each side. Step back. Zip up. Raise your arms. Inhale, rotate. Exhale, center. Inhale, rotate. Exhale, center. Arms down. Step forward. Last one. Step back. Raise your arms. Inhale, rotate. Exhale, center. Inhale, rotate. Exhale, center. Arms down. Step forward. Lovely. It's a couple of shoulder rolls. And we'll go ahead and go back to our mats. So let's go ahead and set our dumbbells aside now. And we'll take our legs in a Z sit if you've not had a hip replacement. And just to mention, this position for our mermaid, the top leg is an internal rotation. So not the best idea for a posterior hip replacement. So in that case, I would recommend more of a fishtail sit or just a long leg with the toes pointed up, okay? So find a nice sitting position, shoulder is down, bring your arms up toward the ceiling, take a breath, and exhale over. We'll find a beautiful side stretch. Take a breath. And take another breath. And then press up, find your balance, find your shin, counter stretch. Find your balance again, breathe, come on down to your side, and then you can stay here and just side stretch if you like. Or you could inhale, open your heart toward the ceiling, exhale, pull into belly and rotate your rib cage. And we'll be in our lovely mermaid stretch. If you do have a significant bone density loss in the femoral neck, the loading on the hip can be not as advisable. So in that case, or in the case if your knee is uncomfortable, you can choose to be in a figure 4 stretch again on your back. So conversely, if you do not feel a stretch here in your hip that's down, and you have a regular hip, then you could go ahead and flip over into Pigeon Pose from yoga, which would be like this. Okay. So just a couple more breaths here. And we'll inhale to unwind. Exhale, come on up. And then we'll take our legs to the other side. Okay, shoulders are down. Abs are in, arm is lifted to give us length. And we'll come on over. Beautiful side stretch. Take some breaths here. We'll take another breath. Press the floor away. Balance. Hold on to your opposite shin. Find your side stretch. Come back, balance, gracefully float down. Side stretch, keep breathing. Open your heart. Exhale, belly pulls in so the rib cage can move, and then you can choose your variations that I already described if you need them. Just keep breathing. We'll take a couple more breaths here. And then we'll inhale to unwind. Exhale to come on up. Beautiful job today. So I'm glad you were here. I'm hoping you enjoyed the class, and I'll look forward to seeing you next time.